Chapter 8. A Book of Spells. The Marvels of the World. Here beginneth the book of the marvels of the world, set forth by Albertus Magnus. 1. After it was known of philosophers that all kinds of things move and incline to the senses, because an active and rationable virtue is in them, which they guide and move as well to themselves as to others, as fire moveth to fire, etc. Characteristics project their power. 2. Also Avicenna said, when a thing standeth long in salt, it is salt, and if anything stand in a stinking place, it is made stinking, and if anything standeth with a bold man, it is made bold, and if it stand with a fearful man, it is made fearful. 3. And if a beast companieth with men, it is made tractable and familiar, and generally it is verified of them by reason and diverse experience, that every nature moveth to his kind, and this verifying is known in the first qualities, and likewise in the second, and the same chanceth in the third. And there is nothing in all disposition and quality which moveth to itself according to his whole power. And this was the root, and the second beginning of the works and secrets, and turn thou not away the eyes of thy mind. After that, this was grafted in the minds of the philosophers. 2 kinds of characteristic. 4. Then they found the disposition of natural things, for they knew surely is grafted in it in other some great boldness, in some great wrath, in some great fear, in some barrenness is engendered, in some is one virtue or another engendered, either after the own kind, as boldness is natural to a lion, or fecundum individuum, as boldness is in a harlot, not by a man's kind, but per individuum. There are by this great marvels and secrets able to be wrought. 5. And they that understand not the marvellousness, and how that might be, despise and cast away all things in which is the labour and wit of philosophers, whose intent was to their own praise in their posterity, that they might by their writing make things called false, beholden in great estimation. 6. It is not bidden to of people that every like helpeth and strengthens his like, and loveth, moveth, and embraceth it. Like affects like. 7. And philosophers have said and verified that the liver helpeth the liver in their writings, and every member helpeth his like. And the turners of one metal into another, called alchemists, know that by manifest truth, how like nature secretly entereth and rejoiceth his like. And every science hath now verified that in like. And note this diligently, for marvellous works shall be seen upon this. Note, a combination of the alchemistical theory with the magical belief in sympathy. Natural enmities. 8. Now it is affirmed and put in all men's minds that every natural kind, and that every particular and general nature hath natural amity and enmity towards other. And every kind hath some horrible enemy and destroying thing to be feared. Likewise something rejoicing exceedingly, making glad, and agreeing by nature, as the sheep doth fear the wolf, and it knoweth not only him alive, but also dead. Not only by sight, but also by taste, and the hare feareth the dog, and the mouse cat, and all the 4-footed beasts fear the lion, and all flying birds the eagle, and all beast fear man, and this is grafted to every one by nature, and some have this secundum individuum, and at a certain time. Matter contains and retains power. 9. And it is the certifying of all philosophers that they which have others in their life hate their parents, and altogether after they die. For a skin of a sheep is consumed of the skin of the wolf, and a timbrel, tabor, or drum made of the skin of a wolf causeth that which is made of a sheep's skin not to be heard, and so it is in all others. And note this for a great secret. Note, this idea connects with sympathetic magic and mana and agasa, invisible force. Human character and its projection. 10. And it is manifest to all men that a man is the end of all natural things, and that all natural things are by him, and he overcometh all things. And natural things have natural obedience grafted in them to man, and that man is full of marvellousness, so that in him are all conditions, that is, intemperance in hot and cold, temperate in every thing that it will, and in him be the virtues of all things, and all secret arts worketh in man's body itself, and every marvellous thing cometh forth of him. But a man hath not all these things at one time, but in divers times and diversis individuis, and in him is found the effect of all things. Thou shalt note how much reason may see and comprehend, and how much thou mayest prove by the experience, and so understand that which is against man. Ignorance, the reason for derision. 11. There is no man but doth know that everything is full of marvellous operations, and that knowest not which is the greatest operation, till thou hast proved it. But every man despiseth the things whereof he knoweth nothing, and that hath done no pleasure to him. And everything hath of hot and cold that is proper to him. And fire is not more marvellous than water, but they are diverse and after another manner. And pepper is not more marvellous than henbane, but after another manner. And he that believeth that marvellousness of things cometh from hot and cold, cannot but say that there is a thing to be marvelled in every thing, seeing that every thing hath both the hot and cold that is convenient to it. Star influences in magic. 12. And he that believeth that the marvellousness of things be in stars, of which all things like the marvellous and hid properties, may know that every thing hath his proper figure celestial, agreeing to them, of which also cometh marvellousness in working. For every thing which beginneth under a determinate ascendant and celestial influence, and getteth a proper effect, or virtue of suffering or working a marvellous thing. And he that believeth of the marvellousness of things that come by amity and enmity, as buying and selling cannot be denied so to come, and thus universal everything is full of marvellous things, after every way of searching the natures of them. And after that the philosophers knew this, they began to prove and say what is in things. Qualifications needed to be able to verify magic. 13. Plato saith in Libro Regimenti that he that is not expert in logic, of which the understanding is made ready, lifted up nimbly or light and speedy, and he that is not cunning in natural science, in which are declared marvellous things, both hot and cold, and in which the property of every thing in itself is showed, and which is not cunning in the science of astrology, and in the sights and figures of stars, of which every one of which be high, hath a virtue and property, cannot understand nor verify all things which philosophers have written, nor can certify all things which shall appear to man's senses. And he shall go with heaviness of mind, for in those things is a marvellousness of all things which are seen. 14. A pure astrologian believeth that all marvellousness of things, and that the root of experience, and of all things which be apparent when they be put together, were from a celestial figure which everything getteth in the hour of his killing or generation. And he hath verified it in everything that he hath proved. He findeth that the concourse of things is according to the course of the stars. And victory, joy, heaviness dependeth thereof, and is judged by it. And therefore he commanded all things to be done in certain days, in certain houses, in certain conjunctions and separations, in certain ascensions, and their wit could not attain to all the knowledge of philosophers. Combination of certain elements to produce magical potency. 15. A great part of philosophers or physicians have believed that all marvellousness of experience and marvels came from natural things, when they be brought to light, by hot and cold, dry and moist, and they showed these four qualities, and put them to be the roots of all marvellous things. And mixtion of them is required to every marvellous thing. They verified that in their works, and when they found experiences of philosophers, they might not verify those things by hot and cold, but rather by his contrary. 16. It causeth them to marvel continually, and to be foxy, and to deny that oftentimes, although they see it. Therefore Plato said for a good cause that he which is not very cunning in logic and wise in the virtues of natural things, likewise the aspects of the stars, shall not see the causes of marvellous things, nor know them, nor participate of the treasures of the philosophers. 17. Therefore I know that every thing hath that which is his own of heat and cold, of which it maketh another thing effectual by accident, directly and indirectly, and it hath all his virtues of the stars, and the figure of his generation, which it worketh in mortality, construction, and greeting with other. Students must believe and trust. 18. And notwithstanding everything hath his own natural virtues, by which every thing is a beginning of a marvellous effect. Therefore seeing that nature moveth to his own like, it may be imagined of the marvellousness of effects, everything that thou wilt. 19. And thou shalt verify all things which thou shalt hear, both of physic and other natural sciences, after a diverse way of thy thought and wit. And I shall show thee manifestly that thou mayest help thyself, and prepare thee to receive those things which I will tell to thee, gathered and collected of philosophers and diverse ancient authors. 20. Therefore have thou this thing in thy mind, that an hot thing, as much as it is by itself helpeth in cold passions, and it is an experience in them, and agreeth not with hot things, but by accident or indirectly, and again the which falleth out or comes by accident may deceive thee in the first qualities. For oftentimes a hot thing healeth not likeness, that is accident or indirectly. 21. Therefore, if thou wilt have experience, first it becometh thee to know of those things, whether they be hot or cold. And after that note what is the disposition and natural properties of it, whether it is boldness or fearfulness, or honesty or barrenness. For what nature everything hath, he is like to such in the things in which he is associate. Examples: bravery. 22. As the lion is a beast unfearful and hath a natural boldness, chiefly in his forehead and heart. And therefore he that taketh in his fellowship the eye or heart of a lion, or the skin which is between his eyes, goeth bold and not fearful, and bringeth fearfulness to all beasts. And generally there is in a lion virtue to give a boldness and magnanimity. Likewise in a harlot boldness is extremitate. And therefore philosophers say if a man put on a common harlot's smock, or look in the glass, or have it with him, in which he beholdeth her herself, he goeth bold and unfearful. 23. Likewise there is a great boldness in a cock, insomuch that philosophers say that the lion is astonished when he seeth him. And therefore they say, if any man bear anything of his, he goeth boldly. 24. And generally every beast which hath boldness extremity by nature or chance. Infertility. 25. Si ex eo construcietur huigus modi, it then giveth to it boldness. Likewise, if it be a barren beast, by nature or some accident following it, that it moveth some to barrenness. And therefore philosophers have written that the mule, forasmuch as he is bitterly barren of his property, and whosoever it be, maketh men and women barren when some part of him is sociate to woman. 26. And likewise doth he that was born before the natural time, and a gelded man, because barrenness is grafted in all these, and they are like to a man in this, which doth associate to himself these inward things. Love. 27. Likewise they which will move love, look what beast loveth most greatly, and specially in that hour in which is most stirred up in love, because there is then greater strength in it in moving love. They take a part of the beast in which carnal appetite is stronger, as in the heart, the stones, and the mother or matrix. Note, this is a magical theory of emotion concentration, not mere sympathetic magic. It may be defined thus. When any emotion is concentrated and at a pitch higher than normal, this becomes a force which can be used by those who know how to associate it with some object. 28. And because the swallow loveth greatly, philosophers say, therefore they choose her greatly to stir up love. Likewise the dove and the sparrow are holden to be of this kind, especially when they are delighted in love or carnal appetite, for then they provoke and bring in love without resistance. Eloquence. 29. Likewise, when they will to make a man to be a babbler, or of much speech, they put nigh to him a part of a dog's tongue or heart. But when they will make a man eloquent or delectable, they associate to him a nightingale. And to speak universally whatsoever virtue or natural property they see in any natural thing after an excess, they thought to make like to move or incline anything disposed to that same. 30. For they knew surely that it might more help than hurt, inasmuch as it hath grafted in it of their nature. And all virtue moveth to such as it is, according to the power of it. And so must thou understand to be in marvellous things, of which thou shalt hear. And this is said to introduce thy mind. Secrets and experience. 31. The author Liber Regimenti saith that there be certain things manifest to the senses in which we know no reason, and certain be manifest by reason, in which we perceive nullum sensum nec sensationem. And in the first kind of things we must believe no man but experience, and reason is to be proved by experience, not to be denied. 32. And in the second kind of things feeling is not to be looked for, because it may not be felt. Therefore certain things must be believed only by experience, without reason, for they be hid from men. 33. Certain are to be believed only by reason, and because they lack senses. For although we know not a manifest reason wherefore the lodestone draweth it to iron, notwithstanding experience doth manifest it so, that no man may deny it. Like as this is marvellous, which only experience doth certify, so should a man suppose in other things. Causes of marvels are many. 34. And he should not deny any marvellous thing, although he hath no reason, but that he rather ought to prove by experience. For the cause of marvellous things are hid, and so diverse courses going before, that man's understanding, after Plato, may not apprehend them. 35. Therefore the lodestone draweth iron to it, and a certain other stone draweth glass. So marvellous things are declared of philosophers to be in things by experience, which no man ought to deny. And that is proved after the fashion of philosophers, which found that the philosophers say that the palm is a tree, and it hath the male and female. Therefore when the female is nigh the male, thou seest that the female doth bow down to the male, and the leaf and the branches of it are made so soft, and bow down to the male. 36. Therefore when they see it, they bind ropes from the male to the female. Reddit ergo erecta super se ipsam quasi adepta fit masculo per continuationem fumis virtutem masculi. Strange discoveries, now commonplace facts. 37. Notwithstanding many of the ancient authors have showed marvellous things, received now of common people, and taken for a truth. Therefore I shall show to thee certain things that thou mayst stablish thy mind upon them, and to know it for a certain truth, which reason cannot stablish by seeing, because the aforesaid help in them. And it is that by son of Messias said in the book of the beasts, if a woman great with child put the apparel of a man, and a man put it on after her before he wash it, if he have the fever quartain, it will depart from him. 38. And it is said in the book of beasts that the lizard fleeth the privy members of a man, and in another place it is said si canem, if an old man be buried in a dove or culver house, or be put where doves or culvers inhabit or nest, it be multiplied, until it be full of them. Death in a glance. 39. In the book De Kyriaca of Galen, it is said that the serpent, which is called Regulus in Latin, a cockatrice in English, is somewhat white, upon whose head there be 3 hairs, and when any man seeth them, he dieth soon. And then any man or any other living thing heareth his whistling, he dieth. And every beast that eateth of it, being dead, dieth also. 40. And Aristotle said, where there is summer 6 months, and winter other 6, there is a flood, wherein adders are found, whose property is, they never see themselves, but they die, but when they be dead, they hurt not. And Aristotle put craftily in the mind of Alexander that he should take a great glass, and go towards them there. And when they did behold themselves in the glass, they died. Avicenna's opinion of Aristotle's snake story. 41. This saying of Aristotle was not believed of some men. For Avicenna said against Aristotle, if any man did see it, he died. Wherefore there is no truth in his speech. And they said, If any man would take the milk of a woman, giving suck to her own daughter of 2-year-old, and let it be put in a glassen vessel, or hanged up in a dove or culver house, when they go in or out, doves will abide and be multiplied there, until they be innumerable. And said, When the mouth of a dead man is put upon him which complaineth of his belly is healed.